It was good, y'all. Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about potential safety targets that the Texans could sign in the rest of the offseason. So far, Nick Cassero hasn't really targeted that safety position. Obviously, we still have Justin Reed, our young safety, who's pretty good. And then you have Lonnie Johnson, who's kind of transitioning from cornerback to safety, but who knows if he might transition back to cornerback in Lovie Smith's system, but we'll see. But the first safety free agency target that I want to talk about is Malik Hooker from the Indianapolis Colts. Right now, he's like 24, 25 years old, and he's coming off a torn Achilles, so that could either mean he signs here for a really cheap deal, like a 1 year, 3.5 million deal, something like that, and kind of regain his value, like most of these guys. And so for now, I'm just going to talk about his 2019 stats. Since in 2020 he only played 2 games and he didn't really do much. So in 2019 he played in 13 games. He had 2 interceptions. Yeah, and then he had one forced fumble. So probably solid stats. And then he had 51 total tackles. And he's pretty much a zone cover guy. And he did pretty good there. Um, his missed tackle percentage is kind of high at 13.6%. So hopefully we can get that kind of down. And the quarterback rating when he's targeted is 110.8 last season in 2019. And he allowed 321 yards in 13 games. So obviously there still needs to be work on Malik Hooker, but he would be an upgrade like to Lonnie, I guess. But unless if you believe in Lonnie's potential at safety, Lonnie could be good, but Malik Hooker would definitely be a good addition to this defense. So what do you think?
Yeah, Malik Hooker could probably come in and be that third safety for us behind Lonnie, in my opinion. I feel like Lonnie would still probably start over him, considering that he's coming off of that Achilles tear or rupture. I remember when he was coming out of Ohio State. He was one of the best prospects at safety coming out. He was probably one of the best single high safeties at the time. I remember a lot of I guess college fans, they really liked him coming out and thought he was going to be like one of the best safeties in the NFL, probably like along with Earl Thomas and Cam Chancellor at the time. But coming into the NFL, he's kind of struggled, I guess, in cover two. With Indianapolis, he wasn't the best in cover two, but I mean, he was, I guess, solid. He had some solid stats, as you said. Yeah, I would really like that signing. He's still young. He still has that potential. He could probably be that maybe sub linebacker, cover the middle of the field type of guy on obvious passing situations. Yeah, I would love that signing, especially if it's pretty cheap. And then the second safety that I would like to talk about is Causey from Atlanta Falcons. He formerly played with. Um, he's a very solid safety, I guess. He's not the best. He's not terrible. I guess he's average. I think it's 27, 28-ish. In his 2017 season, he played 16 games. Um, he had 23 combination tackles, 14 solo tackles, 9 assisted tackles, 0 QB hits. But he did have 2 forced fumbles, which I mean is pretty good for safety. And in his 2018 season, he also played 16 games. He had 7 interceptions, which I think is very, very high for a DB. He had 54 return yards from those interceptions. His longest return was 33 yards. He had 10 pass defenses, which is like very good for safety. He had 1 forced fumble. He had 82 combined tackles, 60 solo tackles, which is very good for a safety. He had 1 tackle for loss and 0 QB hits. And in 2019, he also played 16 total games. He had 3 interceptions that year, which was down 4 from the previous year. I guess you can't really keep 7, I guess, consistently, obviously. It's very hard. He had 74 tackles that year, 46 solo tackles, 28 assisted tackles, 2 tackle for losses that year. And in 2020, he only played 4 games. I think it's towards Achilles. He only played 4 games, but in those 4 games, he got 17 solo tackles. So, I mean, he was pretty much setting himself up for a very good season. Probably finished with around maybe 60, 70-ish total solo tackles.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I feel like if we were to be able to get him, he's not the best in cover two. I think in Atlanta, what do they play? I think they play more of a man-to-man, I think, not a cover two. So if he were to come to Houston, he would obviously have to transition into that cover two type of safety. But he's 100% a willing tackler. He's not scared to throw himself into the dirt, try to knock the ball out, or throw himself to make a tackle. He's a very good safety. And yeah, what do you think about Cosby?
Yeah, I think Kazi would be a definitely pretty good pickup for us. He's played strong safety and free safety. He played strong safety in 2018 and then free safety in 2019 and then back to strong safety in 2020. So obviously a versatile guy, a guy who can play both roles. So that's pretty much needed. His completion percentage allowed and pass coverage kind of got worse throughout the years. In 2018 he had 53.3% completion percentage allowed, which is really good. But then in 2020, it slowly increased to 75% allowed, but he only played 4 games, so it's a small sample size. So obviously can't say much there, but he is getting better at tackling over the years. In 2018, out of all the tackles he made, he missed 13.7% of them. But then in 2020, he only missed 9%. So obviously getting better, but same sample size, 4 game sample size. So that still needs to be a little just keep an eye out on that. But obviously, this guy will probably want a contract similar to Malik Hooker. Malik Hooker is definitely younger than Kazi, so he could be. There's more potential there, I guess. But Kazi could be entering his prime. He's 27, 28. That's usually when most athletes hit their prime years. So that could be definitely good for us. And he probably want a contract similar to what Hooker would get, like probably a 1 year, 3.5 million, considering he's coming off an injury. So it probably wouldn't be a terrible idea to bring Kazi in, and he'd probably be pretty helpful on this defense, like you said. And now let's talk about Earl Thomas. So Earl Thomas, he didn't have a team last year. No one picked him up. I guess either he chose not to, want to take a 1 year break from football. Who knows? That whole situation with Earl Thomas. But getting Earl Thomas, you know what you get out of Earl Thomas. You get a multiple-time Pro Bowler, 3-time All-Pro. A guy with Super Bowl caliber, talent. So getting a guy like Earl Thomas would be extremely helpful for us. Obviously, he's regressing a little. Obviously, in Baltimore, he was pretty good for them. I mean, made it to the Pro Bowl, obviously. So, but in Baltimore in 2019, he had a pretty good year. I mean, he only allowed 44% in pass coverage, completion percentage. He only allowed 113 yards in 15 games, and yeah, pretty solid stats, I would say. Tackle wise, he made 49 combined tackles, 32 solo tackles, 17 assisted tackles, and interceptions he made 2. So that's pretty good. I think obviously if you get Earl Thomas, you become a playoff team, in my opinion. I think even though if Deshaun Watson won't return, I think even having Tyrod Taylor, who's an average quarterback, a guy who won't really turn over the ball, I think this team could win like 9 games maybe if you get Earl Thomas. He's definitely a ceiling raiser for this team, and I would love to get him. I really wanted him last season, but that didn't happen. But what do you think about Earl Thomas?
Yeah, like you said, if we were to sign Earl Thomas, we would instantly be that playoff contender, or maybe not contender, but like a playoff team. Um, he could bring in that veterans leadership. He has that dog mentality. He's not really gonna, I guess, listen to what. I mean, not in a bad way, but he's really not gonna listen to like I guess what a coach would say, but not in a bad way. Like he would do what he thinks is right on the field, and most of the time it turns out good. I remember he had that one NFL, I think it was mic'd up clip. The coach was telling him to do something. It was in Seattle, I think in the Super Bowl, if I'm not mistaken, against the New England. One of the coaches were telling him to, I think it was play single high coverage or something like that. But he ended up jumping the route, and he ended up like I think blowing off. I think Gronkowski said, I don't remember who it was, but one of those. So he has that instinct to go in and make a play if he thinks that's what it's going to be. Yeah, we would probably be that playoff contender. We would have a very solid safety group with Earl Thomas, Lonnie Johnson, and then Justin Reed, of course, and then a few other, I guess, backup guys. Yeah, I would love Earl Thomas, especially if you could get him on like maybe a 1 year. I wouldn't assume he would ask for too much of a contract due to him not really playing last year, and I guess his concerns of mental health, because I mean he was pretty crazy last offseason. If you haven't heard things that's happened, maybe like a 1 year, $3 to $4 million deal. I think that would be ideal for both sides. But yeah, I would love Earl Thomas.
Yeah, Earl Thomas, obviously a very smart, instinctual player, and like you said, he plays with the dog mentality. But I don't know if the Texans are the type of team to get some of those problematic players. But if they do take a chance, it could be Earl Thomas for sure. And that's going to be it for the video. Let us know your thoughts on these potential signings. Who do you want us to get for safety? I imagine that they would address safety needs in the draft as well. In the later rounds, some nice studs that could be drafted in the later rounds, and we'll post a mock draft later. But anyways, that's pretty much it for the video. Let us know your thoughts, and as always, be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications. Thank y'all for watching. Peace.